It's estimated that over 60% of Americans will have less than $10,000 saved by the time they reach retirement age. This is a shocking statistic, and today we're going to be talking about several mistakes that could be leading to this, as well as how you could be losing on thousands and thousands of dollars possibly in your Roth IRA. Make sure to watch to the very end of this video so you guys don't miss any of the mistakes or learn about the mistakes that you could be committing yourself. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. If you're a young person, somebody in their late teens or early 20s, it's entirely possible that you might not have anything saved for retirement. And because of this, you're likely not only losing out on huge potential growth over the next couple of years until you reach retirement age, but you're also missing out on pretty much tax savings as well. Now, just to break things down a little bit, just because some of you might not be familiar, what is a Roth IRA and what is a traditional IRA? What's a 401k? What are all of these account types and what do they mean? A Roth IRA is basically an account that you can use after-tax dollars to fund. It's an investment account, so of course you're going to be investing in stocks, bonds, or ETFs. Over time, this account will hopefully grow in value, and as it grows in value, you will get that growth tax-free. However, you cannot pull those gains out until you reach the retirement age of 59 and a half. At 59 and a half, however, you can pull out gains with no penalties and no taxes. Now, a traditional IRA is basically the opposite of a Roth IRA, and it's basically funded with pre-tax dollars, meaning that all the growth within that IRA will actually grow, but you will have to pay taxes on it regardless of when you pull the money out. And a 401k is usually a retirement plan offered by most companies, especially big Fortune 500 companies, to their employees in order for them to save for their retirement. So getting that quick little detail out of the way, let's get into some of the mistakes that you could be making with your Roth IRA. Now, the first mistake you might be making is not contributing enough money to begin with to your Roth IRA. Roth IRAs have contribution limits for every single year, and this is usually about $6,000. When you get older, there are certain age requirements that do get lifted and you can begin to invest more, but by that time you're usually probably out of the account to begin with. Now, in my personal opinion, the way I go about investing in my Roth IRA is simply maxing it out right at the start of the year. I just take $6K if I have it laying around and throw it into the account and call it a day. Now, I know that might not be smart because a lot of people want to contribute over time, and that's totally doable as well. Most people contribute to their retirements like that to begin with, so putting $300 a month in isn't a bad idea. Now, you may not hit that contribution limit, but again, it is very important to try your best to get to that $6,000 max mark. By doing this, you're not only going to put more capital to work, not only for yourself, but for your future, you're also putting money into a place that will grow tax-free. Now, another mistake you could be making with your Roth IRA is actually you're earning too much money to begin with to contribute in the first place. Now, as of 2021, people who are married or filing jointly or are a qualifying widower must make less than $198,000 to be able to make the maximum contribution to your Roth IRA. It's important to be aware of this because a lot of you might actually already be making too much money to begin with to even invest in a Roth IRA. This does, of course, kind of beg the question, well, what's the point of investing in a Roth IRA if there's income limits? But again, that's $198,000 as far as what the income limit is, and I think that most people who are investing in these aren't making that to begin with. But again, it is something you could be missing out on, and it is something, of course, to keep in mind. Now, one of the probably most well-known mistakes that you could be making, and this is what a lot of people talk about with Roth IRAs and kind of one of the downsides, in my opinion, about the account, is pulling money out too early. If you're pulling money out before you reach the age of 59 and a half, you're going to pay not only the taxes on that money now, you're also going to be paying penalties. These penalties can range from a variety of different numbers, but usually it's about 10%. Plus long-term or short-term capital gains on whatever growth you get inside of the account, depending on whatever you bought and purchased and hold. Doing this is, of course, a mistake, and a lot of people would agree that you're supposed to buy and hold these assets and not sell them. The whole point of the account is for the long-term growth to compound and continue to grow over time. And I know that a lot of people don't like retirement accounts because of this, because of all the restrictions and penalties and limitations on what you can do with your capital that you're putting into it. But in my opinion, hey, if it's tax-free to begin with, I'm not complaining. But again, it is so important to hold. You might see that you're up big or maybe you're down big depending on where the market is at in the current cycle that it's in, but you have to remember that that is temporary. You have to remember that every single market crash we've ever seen in the history of the stock market has always tended to go right back up. And again, it might take a while for that to go right back up, but it is not guaranteed that you will lose all of your money unless you sell. You have to remember that the gains and losses that you're seeing in your Roth IRA are only there when you actually exercise them, when you buy or sell. If you're down $5,000 and you sell, that becomes a realized loss. If you're up $5,000 and you sell, that becomes a realized gain. Most people in their retirement accounts aren't buying and selling constantly to begin with. They're holding long-term because statistically it's been proven that long-term growth from just holding stocks that are bought at a good price point always tends to outperform just simply trading it. So that is of course something that you need to keep in mind. Now a huge thing that I know almost nobody watching this video might have set up in the first place is your beneficiary list. This is of course the list of people that in case of your death, who gets the money in that Roth. Now that might seem kind of morbid that we're talking about this of course, but again, it's like a will, it's like anything else that makes security a little bit safer as far as who gets money or who gets your assets when you die. It's important to have these set up and it's important to know who your money is going to, if going to anybody at all. I don't think you would want your money to just be locked up in an investment account where nobody can touch it and it just is gonna sit there and probably end up in Uncle Sam's pockets anyways. Now it is an incredibly complicated matter, of course, who you would choose to be your beneficiary, and we're not gonna go over that obviously in that video because this is not a psychological kind of family oriented relations channel, but of course you need to be aware of who you're picking, why you're picking them, and what they'll end up doing with the money to begin with. But again, your beneficiary list is very important, and it's important too that you have people selected in case something does happen to you. Better to be safe than sorry. Now for the very last mistake that I see so many people making with Roth IRAs is simply skipping them. A lot of you guys might think, oh, well, I already have a 401k, I already have a traditional IRA, I already have a different type of account to begin with that I'm already investing my money in, I don't need a Roth IRA. Well, I'm here to break it to you that you actually might want one. Again, the growth in a Roth IRA is tax-free. There's a lot of tax saving that you're going to be missing out on if you don't invest in a Roth and you only invest in an individual account. Those are of course taxable accounts, but if you invest in a IRA while you can, while your income is still relatively low enough where you're allowed to do so, there's a lot of tax savings that you're gonna miss out on if you don't. And in fact, financial planners even suggest that you start funding a Roth IRA if you've made enough contributions to your 401k through whatever your employer's retirement plan is. Again, this is very important to keep in mind. And a lot of people think that, oh, if I just put my nest egg in this one account, it's fine. But it's honestly good to be diversified in not only, of course, the assets you're investing in, but of course, the actual accounts that you're investing with. Again, the Roth IRA is not the end-all be-all in retirement plans. And a lot of people think that obviously it's relatively easy to just put money into these, buy, hold, and that's it. And of course it is, but it's important to be aware of all of these little nuances that are present with a lot of these investing accounts. Again, the Roth IRA is an incredible tool to use to not only build generational wealth, but also to build your retirement nest egg so that way you can have a bright future when you want to stop working one day. I know I'm still contributing to my Roth IRA and I'm beginning to put more and more money in as it goes. I like to contribute the max amount if I can. If not, then I just do a monthly sum. But overall, I really like using it as a tool to not only compound my nest egg even more, but to also take advantage of tax-free growth. If you found this video valuable at all, I hope we have earned your thumbs up today. Make sure to subscribe so you guys never miss a new video like this, and hit the notification bell so you guys get our notifications every time we put out a new video. We talk about stocks, cryptocurrency, real estate, or anything with a dollar sign attached on this channel. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you guys, again, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you guys want to pick up some free stocks with WeBull, check out our WeBull link down in the description below. When you guys sign up and deposit $5, you can get free stocks that are worth up to a lot of money. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you guys, check out the links in the description below. But other than that, guys, that is all I have for you guys today. I'm Kyle, Finance Bro. Take it easy.